Your career is a voyage which should be headed toward success. By the end of today's video, we'll discover if your career is headed in the wrong direction. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are as passionate about the craft of professional wrestling as I am, then you have landed in the exact right place. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe right now. In order to discover if your career is headed in the wrong direction, it would certainly be helpful if we establish what the right direction is. And as I said at the very top, your career is a voyage, hopefully, toward success. For that to be the case, you have to define what success means first. What does success in pro wrestling mean to you? I guess for that matter, in any endeavor, it doesn't have to be just pro wrestling, but that's what we talk about on this channel. What does success in pro wrestling look like to you? Have you defined that for yourself yet? Because if not, it's a little like getting in a boat and pushing back from the dock with no sense of what your destination might be and no tools to help you navigate your way there. If you undertook that voyage, the odds of you successfully making it to your destination are virtually none. So if you haven't defined what success looks like, how can you possibly hope to reach that? I would like to take this opportunity to flush something down wrestling's toilet forevermore, because it's a load of crap. Have you ever heard a version of this? It's an old wrestling adage. Maybe you've heard it spouted by some red-faced podcaster or some loudmouth on YouTube, not referring to myself, of course. It sounds something like this. If it isn't your goal to one day main event WrestleMania, you should get out of the business. Has that ever crossed your desk before? I disagree with it 1,000%. I know that's not how percentages work. 1,000% is the level to which I disagree with this statement. Nobody else gets to tell you that your goals aren't valid, or that your goals don't matter, or that they get to define what success in pro wrestling is for you. It doesn't work like that. You get to decide. But you also have to decide what success is. Otherwise, you're not going to know when you reach it. Let's stick with that boat analogy that I'm particularly enamored of right now. You're never going to make it into that port if you don't know what success looks like. You don't know how to navigate there. You don't know how to aim your ship. And by the end of this video, I want you to have some clarity about exactly that. Otherwise, you don't know. Am I heading in the right direction? Or am I heading in the wrong direction? Or am I just meandering out there in the middle and I'm never going to get anywhere? I want you to have clarity about that. So it doesn't need to be your goal to one day main event WrestleMania. If you're just starting out right now and your goal is to level up from the independent circuit to the international circuit and get to see all these wonderful countries around the world on wrestling's dime, if that's what success means to you, that's valid. That's worth chasing. Go get it. I know people out there who feel like success in pro wrestling means that they have to work at the corporate level of wrestling for companies like WWE, AEW, or New Japan Pro Wrestling. They want a full-time contract with one of the corporate players making a television product. And if that's what success means to you, go get it. That's a valid goal. I want you to achieve that objective. Our next step is to define these two things, a short-term goal and a long-term goal for you that move you in the direction of your vision for success. If these are properly aligned, we're heading in the right direction. If they are not, chances are we're headed in the wrong direction. So, a short-term goal is something that you could ideally realize, let's say in the next 90 days. And I want to be able to harness that momentum to push you toward a long-term goal that might take anywhere from 1 to 3 years to accomplish. But both of these have to get the boat moving. We want to sail toward success. And I want you to share these with me down below in the comments section. Do you have a short-term goal for yourself? what would get you a little bit closer to your vision for success? And what about a long-term goal? A bigger step towards success, something that's going to take a little while to realize. Will you share them with me right now, down below? Before we get this next part done, I need you to hear something directly from me. So please listen to your old pal Mike here, because I'm someone whose internal monologue, my self-talk, runs very negative. It sounds like, you're an idiot, why are you so dumb, you're the worst, you're a failure, kind of like all the time. In pursuance of these two things, the short-term and the long-term goal, please give yourself some grace. Extend a little bit of kindness and compassion to yourself along the way, because any pro wrestling career, longer than a cup of coffee, is going to come with some setbacks. Things that you can't control that will impede your forward momentum. That's reality. The most obvious of these is a physical injury that you suffer while training or performing. You can't prevent those things. Accidents happen all the time, especially to pro wrestlers, it seems. And that's a setback. It's going to halt your forward momentum. If you have a very serious injury, the likelihood that you're going to hit that next short-term goal in a period of 90 days, that's very unlikely. Give yourself some grace. You're not going to hit every short-term goal in 90 days. Maybe every long-term goal, you're not going to hit it in a year, 18, 24 months. There are going to be setbacks. And when they come, give yourself some grace. Regard yourself with a greater degree of kindness and compassion than your old pal Mike does, because that's the reality of being a pro wrestler. Placing aside that setbacks do happen, and they absolutely do, what I want you to remember about these goals is this. Every time you cross a short-term goal off your list, I want you to pick a new one and make sure it aligns with your long-term goal. So I want to give you an example here, just in case you're hearing all of this and you're thinking to yourself, Mike, I don't even understand what you're saying. Let's say that your goal is to try out for the WWE. You want to get invited to one of the tryout camps. If that is your ultimate goal, that's what success looks like to you, just having the chance to try out and show your talents to the industry leader. If that's the ultimate destination on this voyage, don't choose as a short-term goal, I want to wrestle in Costa Rica. Because wrestling in Costa Rica, although that's cool, does not align with where you're trying to go. Going and having a match in Costa Rica, as far as I understand it, doesn't put you any steps closer to achieving that ultimate success of the WWE tryout that you're chasing. That's just one example. But I need you to do a little bit of careful calculation, some strategization about getting to that port of success by choosing a short-term and a long-term goal that align, and aim your ship in that direction. And just so we can ensure that you're headed in the right direction, allow me to stick with this example for just one more moment. If your ultimate vision of success in pro wrestling is to try out for the WWE, then you might choose as a short-term goal retaining someone to design more professional looking gear for yourself. And maybe your long-term goal is to add 15 pounds of muscle to your body, because you understand how these things might make you more attractive to the WWE during that recruitment process. Those things align with what your vision for success is. It gets your boat sailing in the right direction. And whatever that is, whatever success means to you, I want you to make sure that both the short-term goal and the long-term goal that you're going to articulate to me down below in the comments, that they align with your vision for success. And if you're having the realization right now that these things actually don't put me any closer to my goal, it's entirely possible you are heading in the wrong direction. Or in a best case scenario, you're headed in no direction whatsoever. But I want to see you achieve success. Whatever that means to you, I want to help you on that path. So please, no matter how many times you check off a short-term goal, always be choosing a new one for yourself that aligns with your vision for success, and make sure this long-term goal is on that same route. When it is, I think you are headed in the right direction.